exactly what you want to see. Let's run this puppy in. Score a touchdown and tie this game. Life, run for your life, touchdown on one play. Worked on this in practice. Touchdown. It's up to Kelvin Benjamin. This is all you, buddy. Kelvin Benjamin for a touchdown. Oh, he toasted his man. Holmes toasted his man. Spin move. Oh! Oh! All right, how's everybody doing today? Good Buckeye victory. You know, could have done some things better. Could have done some things cleaner. All in all, good victory. We're on to Cincinnati. Next question. I don't really feel like answering that. We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. I'm just going to keep saying we're on to Cincinnati if you're going to keep asking dumb questions like that. Yeah, I watch TikTok. Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Water Juice channel, and welcome to Halloween. That's right, this video is going up on Halloween day, and I told you guys I would come up with a costume. And since I don't actually have an actual physical costume, I decided to kind of DIY my own costume. So I got a hoodie on, I got a headset on. I bet you can't guess who I am. I am Bill Belichick, Bill Belagod, as he would be like to refer to as. So, yeah, that's my costume. I hope you guys do enjoy it. I don't have a Patriots hoodie, actually. This is my Kobe Bryant Legends Live Forever hoodie. I don't actually have a Patriots hoodie. It's shocking. I thought I did. I looked in my closet. I don't have one. I should probably get one. But we're here talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes surviving against Penn State. I talked about this in the pregame yesterday, how this was going to be an easy game in theory because Penn State was coming off of 2 straight losses. They lost to Iowa, and Iowa looks bad. They look really, really bad. They have no offense. And then they went and lost to Illinois in 9 overtimes. First off, you lost to Illinois. That's one bad. That's the first mark. But then it took you 9 overtimes and still lost? So why wouldn't any fan of the opposing team think that they were going to just steamroll Penn State, let alone a fan of a team like Ohio State? And yet, at the end of that video, I did mention that Penn State always seems to play the Buckeyes close. They always give the Buckeyes a tough matchup. They always give the Buckeyes a close game, maybe a little bit of a heartbreak here and there, but more than likely it's usually just a close game, but the Buckeyes survive. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. The Ohio State Buckeyes played a sloppy game. They played a penalty-riddled game, but they played good enough in certain key moments to walk out of the shoe with a victory. There were times, I will admit this, because I try to be as unbiased as possible, there were times where I thought the Buckeyes were going to lose that game. I try to be as realistic as possible with you guys. There was moments in that game where I thought the Buckeyes were going to lose. They did pull it out, though. C.J. Stroud took a little bit of a step back, in my opinion. Now, I understand he's a freshman. This is his first real Big Ten, his first real Big Ten matchup. And it can be really stressful, really it could be really hard to go and play a team that in theory is as good as Penn State usually is. And their defense, I'll give them credit. Their defense played unbelievable in that game. They played so much higher on a level than they usually have played in this season and in previous seasons. And they gave the Buckeyes a scare. They stopped Travion Henderson for the first half. They shut down the wide receivers. The Buckeye defense, which has always been a worry of mine this season, was once again in danger because they could not stop Sean Clifford's little 10-yard passes or his 15-yard passes in the middle of the field. The zone that the Buckeyes were running for most of the game was just not working. They were leaving in little holes that the receivers for Penn State were finding. They were exploiting. Now, the Buckeyes won this game 33-24? 33, whatever it says in the thumbnail. 33-24, I think it was. There was like two really big game-changing plays. There was the Travion Henderson 70-plus yard run that got him down to like the 2-yard line or whatever. That changed the game. And then there was the strip sack fumble returned for a touchdown by Cage, the defensive lineman. 350 pounds of human man running 40, 50 yards, 60 yards even. I don't even remember how much it was. But that was the two big moments. And you know what we like to call big defensive lineman touchdowns in football? We like to call them a thick six. Instead of a pick six, it's a thick six. So we got one of those. Those were really the two game-changing moments, the momentum swingers, if you will, in this game. Like I said, CJ Stroud kind of took a little bit of a step back in this game. He was overthrowing players. He was underthrowing receivers. He was making weird decisions. He wasn't running the football. I don't understand why CJ Stroud doesn't run. Maybe he just doesn't feel like he needs to. But previously, we all thought that it was because of that shoulder. He doesn't want to take big, unnecessary shots on that shoulder because it's hurt. Well, presumably that shoulder's healthy now. It's been healthy for a couple weeks. So there's got to be something else going on. There's got to be another reason why CJ doesn't want to take the run. Maybe he just, like I said, maybe he just doesn't feel like he needs to run. Maybe he trusts his arm more than he trusts his legs. And that could also be a thing as a young quarterback, a young freshman quarterback playing his first season. He doesn't really trust himself to run the football and create some big plays when there's nothing there. Maybe that'll change over time in the next year that he plays because he's only a redshirt freshman, so he has to come back next year. He can't leave for the draft. So he's going to be back next year, and he's going to be the starter. And so maybe having that year of development, he'll start to feel more confident in his legs and his running ability. And then in those situations, because there was a couple situations in this game where he had an open space, he had enough space to get 6-7 yards, maybe even get a first down if the lanes opened up, and he just didn't take them. He either ran out of bounds and took less yards, he threw it away, or he threw an incomplete pass, or just like there was just weird situations that most quarterbacks, not even Ohio State quarterbacks, most quarterbacks in college football would have probably taken off and run. He just chose his arm, which is good. It's a change of pace. But when you're as athletic and as gifted as CJ Stroud is, when the defense is allowing space for you to run, you got to take that. When in a big game like this, in a pressure situation where the defense is not playing really well and the offense really isn't going as it usually does, and Penn State's defense is playing really, really well, and they're not giving a lot of stuff. When they give you certain things, you got to take that, and CJ just didn't. So that's something I would like to see change over the rest of this season and into next season. Hopefully that does. I don't know if it will. Maybe CJ will just be a guy who is athletic enough to extend plays, but then extend those plays into big-time passes down the field. Maybe that's just what CJ's game is going to be. And that would be awesome, because usually when you're Ohio State, big plays lead to big touchdowns. So, I don't know. Buckeyes won this game. They escape the first college football playoff rankings come out. I think by the time this video goes up, they come out on Tuesday. So maybe the video on Wednesday will be us reacting to those rankings. That might be pretty cool. So I'm assuming the Buckeyes are going to be 5 or maybe 4. Maybe they squeak in. There's really a lot of unknowns with, obviously we know Georgia's going to be number 1. Will Cincinnati be number 2? Will Oklahoma be 3? Alabama could be 3. Who's going to be 4? Where does Ohio State fall? So there's a lot of unknowns on where the Buckeyes are going to be. I'm assuming they're going to be in that 4 to 5 range, at least for the initial rankings. Once they beat Michigan State, Nebraska, Michigan, they'll be in the playoffs, and then they win the Big Ten championship, they'll be in the playoffs. So it really doesn't have, we don't have to worry about that. But just this initial rankings, I'm a little curious of where they're going to be. But this Penn State team did give the Buckeyes a game. I'll give them that. They played really, really well. But then in the end, it came down to James Franklin and his bad decision making. He has a history, even just against Ohio State, of making bad play calling decisions. And it came back to bite him here again in this game. So is James Franklin going to go to USC or LSU or take another job? Probably. But will the Penn State lose a couple more games? I think if they play like this the rest of the season, they probably win out. They're not going to go anywhere, but they probably win out. So Penn State gave them a game. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Penn State gave them a game. The Buckeyes survived, which is all you need to do at this point. At this point, you don't need to win with style points. You need to just survive and win. And then if you win the Big Ten, the committee will never leave out the Big Ten champion when it's Ohio State. You can't do that. You just can't. Ohio State's too big of a name, too big of a moneymaker. Even if they have one loss, you can't leave out a Big Ten champion Ohio State team. It's just, you would lose so much revenue, so much money, so much TV time. Most of the top games viewed this season are Ohio State games. So they would be dumb. They're first and foremost, forget about best matchups, forget about best teams. It's dollar signs. That's how the CFP works. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but that's how it works. That's why Cincinnati didn't get in last year. They'll probably get in this year. If they keep winning out, I would assume they'd get in this year just because it'd be a nice story to see Cincinnati in. But there's going to be a Georgia, they bring in the dollars. Oklahoma brings in the dollars. Alabama obviously brings in the dollars. Teams, the big brand name teams, bring in the dollar signs. So Ohio State will get in if they're Big Ten champions. That's a guarantee. So we'll see what happens down the road. It's a good victory for the Buckeyes. A lot of things to work on, as we assumed and we knew, because we knew that they were playing bad competition. So this is their first real good competition of the season, and since Oregon. And they struggled, but they got it. So a lot of preparation for next week. I think it's Nebraska next week. Is it Nebraska next week? I think it might be Nebraska. That's an easy game. Forget about that. So we got to work up to Michigan State because they look kind of good. Michigan they look like Michigan. I don't know, but that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. Big W for the Buckeyes. They much needed. I want to say happy Halloween. Have a safe and happy Halloween. Have a safe and happy trick-or-treating. Be careful out there. Don't eat too much candy if you guys are actually going out on actual Halloween night. Or if you already did go trick-or-treating, I hope you had a great time. But I will leave you with this. Subscribe to the channel. Join the Juice Club. We love to have you. We're on to Cincinnati.